Hello. I hope things are going well for you today. Today is Monday. Did you survive the weekend? If we're talking, I guess you survived the weekend. You did the thing? You got it done? All right. I hope you did. So, first story today, everyone. Trump reshares post on Truth Social that appears to suggest or predict a civil war in America. Truth Social, if you didn't know this is where all the losers of MAGA country go to get truth from their dear leader, Donald J. Trump, this guy right here. And did you know that instead of retweeting on Truth Social, you retruth posts, and you can see Donald J. Trump right there retruthing MAGA King Thanos, civil war. Let's get into the story. And once again, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, all the links to these stories are in the description below. Former President Donald Trump this weekend reshared a comment on Truth Social that appeared to predict or suggest a civil war in America is gonna happen in response to inflation. Truth reposted a suggestion from a Truth Social user called MAGA King Thanos, who commented on a screenshot of a tweet from El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele. That's how I'm pronouncing his name. In a tweet, Bukele wrote, "The most powerful country in the world is falling so fast that it makes you rethink what are the real reasons." Can you feel the conspiracy vibe there? What are the real reasons? Sometimes so big and powerful can't be destroyed so quickly unless the enemy comes from within. And you know, when you hear dog whistles like the enemy comes from within, you cannot help but think about Germany in the 1930s and the 1920s, about the stab in the back, about how they lost World War I due to elements within their society. It's the same kind of dog whistle. Bukele's remarks came in response to a Bloomberg tweet on coping with inflation in the U.S. if one earns under $300,000 a year. The post that Trump reshared captured the Truth Social user's comment on Bukele's tweet that read "Civil War." And there he is, MAGA King Thanos, with Donald Trump retruthing civil war. Trump's repost was picked up on by conservative political activist George Conway, the husband of former Trump aide Kellyanne Conway. Nothing to see here, just a former president of the United States sharing a social media post advocating or predicting civil war in the United States. No biggie, he tweeted. Trump's comment was also rebuked by Representative Adam Kinzinger, one of Trump's staunchest critics in the GOP. "Any of my fellow Republicans want to speak out now?" he tweeted. "Or are we just waiting to see? Oh, we just waiting to get through just one more election first?" Look, we've seen this a million times that Republicans en masse are not going to stand up to Donald J. Trump unless they're pretty sure that Donald J. Trump is losing. Maybe, and what we've seen in the primary so far is that even though Donald J. Trump's candidates haven't won every single primary, they have done pretty well on the whole. So I'm not predicting that there's going to be a big upswell, a large upswelling of Republican resistance against their Lord and Savior, Donald J. Trump. And, you know, I just want to step back a little bit too, is that if one of the things that we learned prior to January 6th and at January 6th during the time of the insurrection is if you're constantly asking yourself, are we in a civil war? Then the answer is probably yes. It's like having that toxic girlfriend or boyfriend that you ask yourself, gosh, should I break up with them? And if you're thinking this over and over again, then the answer is probably you should be breaking up with them. All right, let's talk about one of, and this is going to be a bunch of trigger warnings here because there's a video here. I want to talk about one of Donald J. Trump's foot soldiers. Marjorie Taylor Greene can't figure out why people are picking on murderous white supremacists. And here's a snapshot. Here's a little pic there of the video I'm going to share. Extremists, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene wondered in a weekend interview why people are picking on homicidal white supremacists. She said there are so many other criminals to complain about instead, like undocumented immigrants. She also said people should be talking about the quote-unquote Asian man who killed a member of a California church last week and a quote-unquote black man who drove his car into Wisconsin shoppers last year. She added incongruously that it shouldn't be about race. You know, there's a consistent strategy, and we talked about it on this channel like a million times, that it doesn't matter if you're talking about the FSB, the Russian Secret Service, or Fox News, that they love to use the whataboutism. As soon as you make a legitimate accusation about them, the first thing they do is throw a what about this, what about that. They never want to actually deal with the question at hand, because there's a saying in politics, everyone, that if you're explaining, then you're losing. You want to see? Do you want to see have I given you enough trigger warnings about, we're going to watch a little bit from Marjorie Taylor Greene, a video. All right. So you've been warned, I think adequately. Let's see what she has to say for herself.
Sorry, not on the bill for this domestic terrorism.
There we go.
On the bill for this domestic terrorism new bill that came out for the Department of Justice. And Jerry Nadler was on the House floor, and he was talking about white supremacy, and he was bringing up the terrible shooting that happened in New York, but totally ignoring the shooting that happened in California that I think involved an Asian man that was the shooter, totally ignoring the guy that drove his car, black man that drove his car through a Christmas parade, killing people and was a racist himself, completely ignoring the black man that did the New York subway shooting. You know, these people are all guilty of these crimes.
Okay, I think that's all we really need to see from Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think I've traumatized you enough for a Monday morning. But that's the thing. As soon as you start making an accusation against their own racist core, their own MAGA QAnon craziness, the white supremacy that is the Republican Party, they want to talk about minorities. Is that something that the Klan would do? Maybe it would be something that the Klan would do. Let's see what else we have. Greene made the comments that she attacked Representative Gerald Nadler for railing last week in the House against the avowed white supremacist accused of the horrific assault at the Buffalo supermarket targeting black people last week that killed 10 people. Yes, why is there a target on white supremacists? Why? Because they go around shooting people. Why? Because they try to overthrow the government. Why? Because Tucker Carlson is blaring out white supremacist propaganda on Fox News. That's why we're talking about white supremacy. It's like in case you have a cancer, in case you're sick with cancer and you go to the doctor and the doctor says, well, you know, we're not going to talk about the cancer, but we're going to talk about the hangnail that you have on your toe. That's what Marjorie Taylor wants to say. She's that doctor. She wants to not talk about the cancer that's infecting the United States of America. She only wants to talk about these secondary issues that don't mean anything. I'm going to check out the chat, because some of you are going to ask whether or not we're going to talk about Southern Baptists and their sex abuse scandal. And I am. I'm going to touch on this story because this is what's going to happen, everyone, in case the fascists really take power here in the United States of America. You know, these are the stories. Report: top Southern Baptist stonewalled sex abuse scandal, sex abuse victims. Yes, it isn't just the Catholics with sex abuse scandals. But if the fascists take power, if Donald Trump and the MAGA crew create a theocracy, we won't get these stories anymore. We won't hear about them, though they will be occurring in much greater number and fashion. Leaders of the Southern Baptist Convention, America's largest Protestant denomination, stonewalled and denigrated survivors of clergy sex abuse over almost 2 decades while seeking to protect their own reputations, according to a scathing 288-page investigative report issued Sunday. These survivors and other concerned Southern Baptists repeatedly shared allegations with the SBC's executive committee, only to meet time and time again with resistance, stonewalling, and even outright hostility from some within the EC, said the report. The report asserts that the executive community staffer maintained a list of Baptist ministers accused of abuse, but there was no indication anyone, quote, took any action to ensure that the accused ministers were no longer in positions of power at SBC churches. The most recent list includes the names of hundreds of abusers thought to be affiliated at some point with the SBC. Survivors and advocates have long called for a public database of abusers. Yes, there needs to be oversight of this is going to sound radical. It's going to sound socialistic, right? That there needs to be oversight of the Catholic Church. There needs to be citizen oversight of the police department. There needs to be citizen oversight of churches, just to make sure they're not doing anything crazy, because Wall Street can't police itself. The Southern Baptist churches can't police themselves. The Catholic Church can't police themselves. Isn't that common sense? If we're going to talk about common sense, I think that's common sense. Going to check out the chat. No ads on this channel, everyone, by the way. Right? Well, no ads on this show. There's some ads on some of the other videos, but you can see all the people who are supporting this channel and my work. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well this morning here in the chat. Did you miss the beginning? How is that possible, Big Zebra? You were the first one here. I thought you were the first one here. Satan himself. Why, hello, Satan. It's good to see you. John Hudson causing trouble. All right. At 8:15, we're doing the after party for the show. If you're part of the Facebook group, and if you're not part of the Facebook, little messenger, secret squirrel group that we're running, you should get in contact with me. And then I'll put you into the chat. And that's how I'm distributing the link to be on the after show these days, just so that we don't get porn bombed, right? I think that's, it's the world that we live in, unfortunately, everyone. So thanks for watching. I'm going to drop down a cat video, and then I'll see you at 8:15 on the other show, on the after party show on the Naked Diner podcast channel. The link to the Naked Diner podcast channel is in the description below. Thanks again. Try to survive Monday, right? That's all I'm going to try to do. Survive. Get through.
Meow.